Was a story that happened to me some time ago. I had a client that was having a wedding in Michigan. Half the family was in England, half the family was from the United States. So there were a lot of people that were coming in from all over the place. Yay, Roy! I'm so glad that you could hear me. It's good. As soon as I let my hand off this mic, though, it seems to be. Nope, see? Yeah. It happens. So anyhow, I was doing this event and the family needed to have roughly like 500 people at this event. And it was a space where there wasn't space for 500 people at all. Like pushing it was about 350 people. Finally, taking some time and going into the room throughout the whole banquet hall, I ended up taking basically what was like a lobby and converted it to extend into a ballroom. I then took what was supposed to be a like another separate members dining area and converted it into their nightclub. So the short of it is I was able to get like 550 people in that particular building, but it did come with some planning, knowing different tools, knowing different things that were available that could make it happen, envisioning that space in a different way. So, and I will tell you that country club had been there for years, and no one had ever done it ever. But this was a client I didn't want to let down because they wanted that event at that specific country club. It was a big hit, and then so much of a hit that after that, every single person that came through that had big events, they took that idea and revamped it to their own. So probably about 6 months later, something like that, there was a pretty big event from. I'll leave it blank, but there was a big event that was going on, and there were multiple people that were bidding on it. And that particular event, I didn't get it. I didn't get the event. But I was walking out at the time. The country club manager, his name was Rich, he was walking out at the same time as me, and he said, "How does that feel to know you didn't get the job, and you didn't get the job because they took your idea from the event you did 6 months ago and they applied it to their design?" And I said, "Oh, so it goes." And he said, "Elizabeth, remember, imitation is the biggest form of flattering because they want to be able to do what you do. And out of the 15 years I've been here, no one ever did it, but now you started a trend." So nonetheless, I learned a lot of lessons through all of that. And the big one was looking at things differently and realizing, regardless of an event, whether it's online or offline, there are space parameters. And if you can find your little hacks and tricks to be able to maximize that space in a different way, even if it's different tools or a different way of looking at it, almost anything's possible. And this even goes with online event. So today I'm going to share with you some simple hacks and how you can easily create a video file in Final Cut Pro or whatever. And if it's large, I'm going to show you how to compress that file. And I'm also going to show you this super simple hack on how to easily change an MOV file to an MP4 file. And it's so simple, you're going to scratch your head and say, what? But let's do it. Let's say that you have one of these situations like here. You can see this is my original file. It was an MOV file, and it's 6.2 gigabytes, which is too big. So I've got to figure out how do you get it to become an MP4, and how do I get it down to less than 5 gigabytes. Okay, so for starters, first thing first that you're going to do is open up the file. And this is in particular, this is in QuickTime. You're going to go up to the top and click the menu that says File, and then go down to Export as 1080, because that was the size file that I had. You're bonkers? Why are you bonkers, Roy? Oh, I'm bonkers too sometimes. Jeremiah wrote, corporate world did that to me more than once. You suggest it to the boss. The boss says no, and then you do it, and then they take credit for it. The worst. It's the worst. And then Roy wrote, handbrake or compressor will do it. Streamed that video. It was in 1080. I didn't film it in 4K. If I did, I'd have that option to compress it to that size. But I just did the 1080. And then the next part is when it, like for instance, I already did both steps here. But let's say that this was the file that was compressed. All you do to convert it to MP4 is go over to here to where it says MOV, highlight it, and all you do is change the extension to MP4. And then it's going to ask you, use as MP4 or keep as MOV. You're going to click MP4. Voila, you're done. You just compressed your file and you converted it to an MP4, and it didn't take much. So just in those simple little things, it literally cut it almost by half, and there was no need for any fancy software or anything. Just go back and look at different tools and resources that you can use to accomplish what you need with your online event. But video consumes a lot of space. So you're going to want to make sure as you're creating these assets that you do have it framed out in the right way so that you can use that file. Also, another thing that's helpful is, for instance, on my streaming setup, I'm using Mac M1 Mini, really focused on the RAM, and then just buy a backup storage unit. So what I love about this is I can easily move it back and forth between. This is my streaming setup that you're watching me through, but I do a lot of my more administrative work back on that computer. So that does make it easy, and I think it's got 1 terabyte on it. So space is important for all of your event stuff, whether you're in person or you're online. You want to make sure that you have what you need to accommodate that demand of space. So I hope that this helps you in some way. So dream big. And, even when we do have ideas that are taken by other people, for instance, I did take it as a compliment because I was able to spark an idea, and it did help other people in the long run. And it did become a little bit of a giggle. I could tell you horrible stories of people who stole stuff from my business, but for today, we'll just keep it light and airy. But I think that this is some of the big girl pants that we have to wear sometimes, or big guy pants that we have to wear sometimes with life. And, so it happens. But in the meantime, I hope that you take the time to know your space requirements, whether it's online, in person. And actually, one last thing I am going to say off of that, even if you are doing a virtual event, let's say that it's a Zoom event, there's limitations even with how many people that you can bring into Zoom for it to work properly. So if you end up in one of these productions where maybe you have 500 people that are coming to a Zoom virtual event that you're having, it would not be wise to put all 500 people on the same Zoom Connect. That's when you start integrating or breaking it out into different groups so that if you lose your stream or it crashes, all sorts of things that can happen. So always keep in mind, what is your head count, what is your space requirements, and what is your space that's available, and then go from the flow of that. All right. Well, I did feel like I was doing a little bit of rock and roll all day. This is how I've been holding my mic with the death grip. So it looks like tonight, for fun, I'm going to be hanging out with the wire bag. So much fun. Do you envy me? All right, you guys, in the meantime, I wish you just so much abundance. Be good, be happy, and most definitely be blessed. Bye, guys.